Live with the community, this is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development bi-weekly call. It is the end of April, April 27th. We are so excited for what we have in store for you on this call. Let's take a look at the agenda. We're going to get all kinds of updates on the community around .NET libraries, PowerShell, Teams, Teams Toolkit, Graph Toolkit, Publisher connectors, and we're going to see a bunch on samples, script samples, team samples, Power Platform samples, all the samples. We got them. You want them. We know it. Picture time with Together Mode with Vesa. So we're looking forward to all those fantastic faces. And then we're going to see two amazing all-stars of the day. Kevin Dibb on group voicemail app using SharePoint, Teams, Power Automate, and Power Apps. Woo, it's going to be awesome. And then Tobias is going to show us task management and timeboxing within Microsoft ecosystem driven by a Power Automate flow. Love these better together stories, so can't wait to see more about them. Let's talk about some resources that are available for you in the community. We got lots of them. Power Platform and Microsoft 365 community videos, LinkedIn groups for discussions. We have open source initiatives like PnP JS and CLI for Microsoft 365. As I mentioned, we got all kinds of sample galleries that bubble up to the adoption.microsoft.com site, in fact, as well. All these sites, all these URLs, you only need to remember all of them. I'm kidding, just one of them. That's it. Community/home, aka.ms/community/home will get you access to all these resources, and they're available for you to use free of charge, no problemo. So definitely take a look at them. All right, talking about community calls, you're on one, so we know you like it, but we got more for you. Microsoft 365 and Power Platform, the weekly series with Microsoft speakers, which means that you're going to get it directly from the horse's mouth. Not that horse Chris Kent, but directly from the mothership. These are going to be Microsoft presenters, product managers, program managers, showing you off all the amazing features and functionality. We've got the Power Platform Monthly, Identity Platform, Office add-ins, and of course the sibling series, which you are on one of right now, Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community and VV Connections and SharePoint Framework. You can get access to all these calls at ak.ms/community/calls, and of course you can see them at the meetup as well. So definitely take advantage of those sites. Now, this is your community call, everybody. We want you to know that you are welcome to request a demo spot on these calls. Now, it could be a sample. It could be a feature, it could be a technical pattern that you've created, it could be a tip or a trick or a collection of them. We want you to be able to share it with the others in the community because what you're working on is valuable and it helps others understand how to better use that technology. So if you would like to present, please don't hesitate to let us know. And you can do that super easy, ak.ms/community/request/demo. I know, it just rolls off the tongue. All you got to do is copy and paste or click in the chat and we will get you set up. Now, speaking of calls, that next Microsoft speakers call, Microsoft 365 and Power Platform on the 2nd of May next week is going to have Marcus Castro on Power Platform Solutions and Microsoft Teams. It's going to be a scenario deep dive. And then Ike Abbas is going to be talking about building Outlook add-ins using Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. So we are super excited. Get that on your calendar. You can do that at ak.ms/community/ms-speakers-call-invite, or just click the link. Now, we've got guidance that we're going to be able to help you with. Hugo, tell us a little bit about this.
Thank you, David. Well, we know that it can be really scary to get started in the open source community. I remember the first time I had to do a GitHub pull request, I thought I was going to destroy the repository, but it turns out it's not that scary. Sharing is Caring is designed to give you sessions where you can get hands-on, you can actually do your first pull request, you can write for the web, you can set up your SPFX developer workstation, and various other sessions that teach you how to get started in the community. And it's hands-on, it's safe, it's never recorded. And we are looking for volunteers to help us actually run more sessions because let's face it, we haven't been able to do as many sessions as we wanted to, but we promise we're doing more sessions soon. Please reach out, aka.ms/sharingiscaring. Pretend I said the dashes in between. And then once you have contributed to the community, we want to recognize the work that you did with our community recognition program. So we will give you badges that will showcase your contributions. It's powered by Credly, the same company that does the certification. And you know, the cool thing about that is all you need to do is you need to go to aka.ms/community/recognition, give us your email address and your GitHub account, and do a contribution that is recognized by the recognition program, and you will get a fancy, cool badge. And that's it for me. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Hugo. And we see a lot of those badges going out right now with more coming as we're near the end of the month. So keep it up, everybody. We love all the work you're doing and appreciate it. Let's talk about some project-specific updates, and we're going to hand it over to Bert.
Thank you, David. In the .NET world, we have had some updates for both framework and course decay. On the framework side, Paul Bullock did improvements in documentation. So there's still work there to do. Paul is leading that effort. So if someone wants to really help with writing documentation for PnP framework, feel free to work with Paul and help out there. Next, Miguel Angel Garcia Martinez, long name, did some updates in the code that provisions pages. So he did updates to correctly provision web part title, web part descriptions when you create a page using a provisioning template. Of course, the case side, Christian did enable, we're staying in the pages team, Christian did enable empty text parts to be added to a page. And Mikael did a lot of work, actually 3 PRs around collapsible sections. So kind of smaller improvements, but really useful and needed improvements to make this story just much better. Then we also have some other things like you can now add and remove columns from a view or reorder columns in a view. We didn't have that yet. And we are working on CK5 support. Now you might wonder what is CK5. CK5 is the editor component on modern pages. We today have CK4, but we're switching to CK5 in the future. And we're already prepping for that change so that you as customers of PnP are not impacted. And there it ends then. Let's move to PowerShell. Thank you all.
Awesome. Gautam.
Thanks, David. Good to be back in this time zone. So about PnP PowerShell, it's a PowerShell library that you can use to communicate against Microsoft 365 services like SharePoint, Teams, Azure AD, Planner, Power Platform, and so much more. So what's new in the latest nightly builds? So we added a new commandlet, get PnP large list operation status to retrieve the status of the removal of a large list. We also improved the add PnP Azure AD group member and add PnP Azure AD group owner commandlets so that you can we can support nested security groups. And we also improved the get PnP site collection app catalog so that you can retrieve those site collection app catalogs a bit more faster if you specify the skip URL validation parameter. If you have anything on your mind, feel free to reach out to us on the discussion forums as well as on the GitHub issue list. That's pretty much from my end. Over to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Gautam. Let's move into Yo Teams with Rick.
Hey, David. Hey, everyone. So this week we had a few spike in downloads, but yeah, we have no idea what's going on. But probably somebody's using it a lot. Maybe some automation tool, probably. But thanks to API, we're preparing v4.2, and we already did a pull request for some validating HTML files. We're also looking for contributors if you want to help to extend Yo Teams. We're still in preview with the latest version. The other version is still normal, of course. So if you have some time, test out the preview version. And then, of course, I think Stefan is also getting ready to see if he can do a Visual Studio Code extension. But that's something more for the future. Over to the Teams Toolkit with John, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you. John Miller.
Thanks. So this week, basically a little bit of a repeat of last week. So last week we talked about we have a new release. Well, that's available now. So just a reminder of what's in that. You can use dev tunnels, which is the integrated kind of remote tunneling for debugging your bots and message extensions. So we support that now. Validation is a little better. Help you catch some publishing errors ahead of time. We have autocomplete, so some quality of life stuff. We have some new samples that can launch directly in code spaces, so you don't even need to download or install anything. You just click a button right from the docs. And some SPFX improvements. So we've automated being able to add web parts, being able to debug SPFX apps that you're building for Teams. And we have some new actions for running any type of script you want to do right inside of the Teams app YAML file. So you can automate whatever you want as part of your pipeline with Teams apps. And some open opportunities here, looking to learn more from .NET developers that want to build Teams chat. So I put a little plug down here. Can use that AKMS link, ttk-chat, to schedule a meeting directly with me. And we'll just have a casual chat and help us learn so we can build the right products for you. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, John. All right, Microsoft Graph Toolkit. I don't see Seb, so we will cover this.
I'm here.
Yes, you're here. All right, sorry. I looked. It said you weren't even in the call. Teams is a pretty little liar.
So a couple of things happening on the Graph Toolkit side. First, we shipped our 2.10. We're going to have a 2.10.1 happening later today with some accessibility improvements. We're really listening to our community. You can see all the issues are community driven at this point. It's really cool to see how people are also excited about accessibility and making it even better for your own users. So I definitely appreciate that. We also have a V3.0 preview that it was out last month. We're coming next week with a preview 2 that will bring all of our components to the new Fluent UI capabilities. Wanted to highlight some really cool facts here. First, there's a really good usage. People have started to use the preview to improve their apps, so that's really cool. We even had some new components that have been submitted based on the preview. So want to do a small hi to Anoop that he created a new MGT taxonomy or term store capability as part of the Graph Toolkit. So very exciting when new community members come in and create new components that will really deliver some really cool use cases. So the preview is what will be the next big version of MGT, and you should expect a general availability in the next few weeks. You can always try our next package to see what's coming up. You can use npm to install our next package, and we need your help. Bring the bugs, bring the feedback, bring the ideas. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Seb. All right. Next up is script samples. Paul's not here, so I'll cover this. 186 scenarios, 249 scripts. By far, this is one of the easiest ways to start contributing to the community. Thank you for all of our contributors, Dennis, Rashmi, Ganesh. So much great stuff. Reach out to Paul. Definitely, this is an easy way to share all the information that you're creating in those utilities and samples and scripts. Super easy. So definitely get involved. He's a great maintainer of these and would love to help you get more involved in contributing. And we would love to see all the amazing stuff. And you get a badge for it. So definitely take advantage. All right. And next up is Microsoft Team Samples with Bob German, who's not here. So we are going to cover that. Another file converter from Marcus Muller. You can take a look at all the team samples that are available at ak.ms/teams-samples. Definitely reach out. We appreciate all that Marcus is doing. He's doing a ton, leading the pack here, but there's definitely an opportunity for lots more to get involved. Bob is absolutely welcome to have you help out. So if you have any questions on how you can do that, then definitely reach out and get more involved there. And last but not least, we got Power Platform samples with Hugo again.
Well, folks, you know how they say don't take candies from strangers? The same applies to samples from strangers, right? You probably should not download samples randomly from the internet and just install them in your environment. And that's why we created the Power Platform sample repositories in GitHub. So you can find samples for Power Apps templates, components, connectors, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, Power BI, Power FX, and very soon Power Pages. We are currently in the process of actually moving. We had a whole bunch of repositories. We're combining them into a single repository to make it easy for contributors to contribute to samples and for people to find samples. So join us at aka.ms/Power Platform samples. Go find some cool samples, and I hope to see your samples there soon. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Hugo. All right, now it is everybody's favorite time, picture time. Sylvester is going to take over the screen.
Yep, and moving here, and hopefully pixelation will, it's getting better. It's getting better, and we're not recording yet. Let's wait for, yes, Hugo, that's exactly how you do that. That's really cool. Oh, awesome, Seb, and doing high fives. We are still a few more seconds. Let's do the recording. It is a bit pixelated today. No can do. We'll do some GIF animation out of it anyway. Thanks everybody for joining. Awesome to have you on a call. Awesome to see you once again in here. And hopefully we'll see some of you in person next week in Las Vegas. Thanks everybody. Really cool. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thanks, Vesa. We got Seb doing the Seb dance there, leading by example. Excellent. Okay. All right. It is time for our amazing presenters to show us some fantastic stuff. So Kevin is going to lead off with a group voicemail app using SharePoint Teams, Power Automate, and Power Apps. Take it away, my man.
Okay. 2 seconds. Okay. A brief history on me. I started in 1990 as a computer salesman. This was back when there were computer stores around towns, besides Best Buy. And then in 95, I started at DuPont as a server and network administrator. And then in 2015, DuPont spun off to Chemours, and I've been a server administrator there, and I'm on the I'm an AI team there now as well. And of course, I do a little bit of Power Platform stuff on the side. And then also in 2001, I got married, and my wife started a pediatric therapy business, and so of course I was by default the IT guy there. Everything from computers to the website to Power Apps and stuff like that. I split my time between Fayetteville and Holden Beach, so I'm at the beach a lot. I'm actually here now. I'm married with 2 kids and 3 dogs. Got 3 dogs there in the picture there. They're so cute. My hobbies are kayaking, flying drones, doing the beach, and Power Apps. And yeah, I put Power Apps as a hobby because I really do enjoy it. A lot of times, I'll just spend my nights watching YouTube videos of like Shane and Reza and Daniel Christian and all those guys, and a lot of other ones too. But yeah, so that's about me. So the app I'm presenting is a Teams voicemail solution. If you guys have a business that doesn't have the Teams voice, you guys should think about doing that because it's really cool. It's basically like a virtual PBX. If you guys ever worked at a large business that had like a real PBX, it's like the size of a refrigerator, and it's got cables and wires and all this stuff that go into like telephones. It's been a long time since I've actually used a real telephone. Teams Voice at Therapy Playground. We use it for patients calling in for scheduling, kids, or checking on the status of their bills or whatever. And it goes to a Teams Voice auto attendant, and we have 4 locations, and so that rings all 4 locations at the same time. We have humans at all 4 locations that can pick up the phone, but like if they don't pick up the phone because maybe the patient called like at night or weekend or during lunch or a busy time, and then it goes to voicemail, right? So when it goes to voicemail, that's where the problem is, because the default way that Microsoft Teams Voice does it is when you get a voicemail, it sends an email to a group of people that would normally answer the phone, and they all get the email that shows the message, which is great and all. But when it comes to returning the call, person A doesn't know if person B had returned the call, or person C or D or E. They don't know either. So of course it becomes a big mess trying to figure out if this call was returned or not, what the status of the call is. And the first way that we kind of handled that was we had a Teams chat channel where like Sally would say, hey, I called back, this number is dealt with, and then Susie would say, okay, thanks, I'm calling back the next number, blah blah blah. But it is just a mess. If you guys deal with clients who have this type of situation with a group voicemail, it's a big mess. So what I did, this is what I just said there. Okay. Okay, so the solution was I made a Power App, and of course, these phone numbers are fake numbers. I put random number generators here, so they don't. These numbers are fake, and of course, these names are fake too. I just changed names here to protect the innocent, and then of course the transcription is fake here as well. But this is the screen here that our office staff see, and it shows the number of voicemails. And so I'll do a live demo of that here in a second. And then when they click into it, they can change the status of it. If they return the call or if it's appointment confirmation, whatever, and then they hit save, and then it takes it off the new voicemail list. Okay. And this is the flow. So when a new email arrives, it it checks if it's got a certain subject and the from thing, and picks up if it's a voicemail email, and then creates it into a SharePoint list. And then this was the hard part. And I had a coworker, Akash, actually, I'll give me a hand with this part here, because I couldn't figure out how to get the MP3 into the app itself so that the staff could actually play the voicemail from the app. So this little piece here was a big help here. So thank you, Akash. I think he's on the call now, so thumbs up to you. And this is the SharePoint list here. I mean, it's a real basic list here, and it has the attachment, of course. And then once you check the voicemail, yeah. And so let me actually go and show the app itself. So let me come over here. Okay. This is a message here I called a few minutes ago just to test it, just to show you guys here. So this shows that there's a new voicemail here. And so the office staff would click on it, and so they can hit play here.
Hey, this is Kevin. I'm calling as a test for the community call. So just seeing how this works. All right, bye.
Okay. So Teams Voice does transcribe the message pretty good. Sometimes it gets a little bit jumbled. So the play button is here, of course, so that they can actually play it to hear what they said, if that's not as clear. And if they want to send this message to somebody else in the company, then they can click on that, and then they can, like, that's my wife there. So if I hit the send button there, it actually sends her this message with the attachment, okay? So she can get it if it's something that needs to go to a particular person. And then when I finish listening to the call here, I come here and I just say, like, I return the call left of a voicemail, and hit save, and then it goes back here and it clears out the log there. So that's what that does there, and it really makes keeping track of the calls like much easier. This is the flow here. I showed a screenshot of this earlier, but basically, it checks for the subject of shared voicemail, which is the subject that we have, and then it creates the item, goes into the SharePoint list, and then this is actually what attaches the content bytes for the MP3 file. And so that's basically what that does. And most Office apps, they keep this page up, it's a tab, and then the page does refresh itself throughout the day also, but of course, they can click on that to refresh. But then what did also, if there's more than 2 voicemails pending, then it does send a little message to the Teams chat group saying, hey, there's voice messages to be checked. So that's basically my demo. David, if you want to say anything else, but that's basically what it is.
Awesome, Kevin. This is really, really great stuff. Thank you, by the way, everybody. This is Kevin's first demo on presentation on the call. So I think we need to. Yeah. You did fantastic, my man. Absolutely fantastic. So this is what makes these calls so great, everybody. You got the crowd. Woo! You got the crowd coming in, cheering you on, and we all get to see new ways, and that the technology can be used together in a variety of use cases and ways we never thought possible. So, Kevin, excellent job. We really, really appreciate you spending some time today to show us that.
Sure thing.
All right. Next up is Tobias, and he's going to show us task management and time boxing within the Microsoft ecosystem driven by a Power Automate flow.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Kevin, amazing stuff. Really, really great. Thanks for sharing it. Yeah, perfect. So what I want to talk about today, task management and time boxing within the Microsoft ecosystem. But first of all, who am I? On the business side, I'm a managing partner at 4PS in Germany. We create a cloud-based ERP system for the construction industry. On the community side, I'm an MVP for Azure and business applications, a regional director, and a Docker captain. And if you like what you're seeing today, you can follow my socials, reach out to me. Happy to have any kind of discussion. Find my blog or find my podcast. And I'm also married with 2 kids. But now, yeah, let's jump into the actual topic, which is task management. And I first want to share with you why I did what I did and what I'll share with you. I'm really a big fan of doing task management in the Microsoft ecosystem, so mainly Planner and To-Do. That works really well for me. To-Do for my own stuff, Planner for things that we do as a company, as a team, just in one-on-ones or whatever. It just helps me to stay organized. I'm really afraid of forgetting something, bad memory. But once I started using the tasks management stuff, I was sure that, yeah, I would basically never lose a task again. And that's for my personal ease of mind, that's really important. But what's less good actually is the integration with calendar and with Timeboxing. So for To-Do, it's okay, but you have to do it manually. There is in Outlook this view where you can drag and drop your tasks, but not great in my opinion. And for Planner, there actually is no integration at all. So yeah, I decided that if I want to do Timeboxing, if I want to have my tasks in my calendar, I needed to do something for that on my own. But again, the question is why? Why would I even do the calendar integration and the Timeboxing? And for me, it's basically 2 issues that I had. One was when to do what. And for that, what I personally do is I plan my week in advance, typically Friday afternoon, sometimes even on the weekend. I try to roughly map out what things I want to do on which day. And then I hit the flow that I will show you in a second with a manual trigger. And that puts calendar entries in my week for the different tasks, again, in Planner and in To-Do that I might have, so that I can then plan them. But of course, it's a plan. So what that means is that basically somewhere during Monday, it goes off the rails. So I will be changing my plan, the tasks, the assignments during the week. And for that, I also have as an automated trigger running the same flow, but basically not for the full week, but just for the day ahead, so that it updates the tasks that I have in my agenda for the next day. The other thing that it solves for me is how much time I spend on which task, because before doing this, before putting my tasks in my calendar, I typically had 2 problems. Either I planned way too many tasks, so I had basically, I don't know, maybe 2 hours left open on the day, and I planned like 5 tasks. Surprise, after the 3rd task, the 2 hours were already gone, and I always couldn't finish the things that I had planned. And then sometimes I had basically the opposite thing where I had a full day left open. I decided I'll do those 3 very important tasks. Started with the first one enthusiastic because I had all that time. And then I spent like 6 hours on the first task. And again, I couldn't finish anything. So I wanted to time box, which means and that I'm sure I have an idea. I want to spend 2 hours on this task, 1 hour on that task, and then maybe 4 hours on that one. So I have an idea when I'm running out of time or how much time I will need for other things. So that is basically the reason why I did what I did, and I now want to show you what it looks like in the end. Of course, this is a demo calendar, but it shows basically what happens after the automated flow has run. So this would be me having planned a couple of to-dos, a couple of planner tasks for the full week. It would put them in the calendar, as you can see, always at 6 o'clock, because I never ever would plan a regular meeting at 6 o'clock. So that means that if I have a meeting there, I know this is coming from my flow that has put it there. You can also see it has that little icon in the beginning that also is a sign for me, yes, this is actually planned. And if you're a Outlook user, you will recognize that by the coloring and the transparent coloring, that those to-dos don't block time in my calendar. So that means that if colleagues want to spend time with me, someone wants to take a look at my calendar, those to-dos typically don't block the time. They are just my reminder that I want to do something there. But if someone else wants a meeting or grab some time, it doesn't show up as blocked in that area. So what I then do when I have that, I basically go in and move the tasks and the to-dos into the days and give them the time span that I want to have, so that I end up with something like this. Maybe you've noticed if I go back here, I have nothing planned on Friday, but on Thursday, where this workshop happens. So you can see, of course, I'm also dragging things along days now that I see what the actual plan will look like. But that gives me an idea of whether the things that I have planned, the things that I have due during that week will actually have a chance of happening, and I have enough time to do that. So that's basically the idea. Now, how is it built in Automate? The basic idea is that I take a look at the calendar and I give as a parameter to the flow, and we will see that in a second, the start and the end date and the flag whether I want to clean up everything because maybe I messed up my task planning. I want to start from scratch again. So I also have a flag that would basically first remove all the task entries that I have for that week in the calendar. Of course, the tasks themselves would stay, but just the calendar entries would be removed if that cleanup flag is positive. And then I basically iterate over all my planner tasks, over all my to-dos. And then if the calendar entry doesn't yet exist for that date, it's created. And that's more or less all there is. There are a couple of little wrinkles. I'll show you that when we go through the actual flow. Now, this is all handled in the manual flow. So that's basically what I trigger manually to create everything for a full week. But I also have an outer, a scheduled flow that runs every day, calls the inner flow. I do it at 6 p.m. for the next day because hopefully I'm done working at that time. And it just calls the inner flow, creates the tasks for the next day, and makes sure that my task list and my calendar are in sync again. And then in the morning when I start working, I can see, oh, there's actually an entry 6 o'clock in the morning. That means that something has been added by me or someone else assigned me a task. And now I need to figure out whether I can fit that in my day or not. So that's basically the whole idea, why I did it, how I did it. Now let's take a look at the actual flow. First, the probably less interesting one, which is the outer flow. That one is easy. It just has a recurrence every day at 6 o'clock, every workday or every day, I'm not even sure. A start date, an end date, and then it runs my manual flow with those two parameters. And you can see here, I don't delete the existing calendar entries by default because typically there is nothing anyway when I run it manually. And then we have the more interesting part, which is the inner flow. There you can see that I'm first grabbing the default calendar ID by making a call to me calendar in the Graph API, because if I have multiple calendars, I can't figure out which one to put the tasks into. So I'm just getting the default one, storing that. Then I'm getting all events with a specific category. That's also something I did to figure out, is this a task calendar entry or is this a regular calendar entry? It has a specific category. And by that, I can basically get all the events with that ID. And if we take a closer look here, also with a filter query, taking the start date time and the end date time into account and taking a look at the right category to find out which ones it should get. And then I'm checking whether the calendar events should be deleted. And that's the other one that I mentioned before. If yes, then I just go through all events with that category and delete them. And if no, then we will remember the subjects. And I'll show you in a second why that is the case. And then we have two things that are happening in parallel. One is to go through all the to-dos. The other one is to go through all the planner tasks. Let's take the to-do side because that's actually the more complex ones, because with Planner, I just make one request, I get all tasks. And on a to-do side, I have to go through all my lists and collect the tasks from there. So that makes it a bit more interesting. Here, I'm taking all the lists. Then I'm iterating over all the lists. And then I can take a look at the list to get my actual to-dos. So on Planner, that's just one step. On to-do, that's actually 2 steps. So now we are iterating over all the tasks. First of all, I'm checking whether the due date is set, because only if I have a due date, then I can put it into my calendar. I need to figure out whether the event exists or not yet. That's why in the beginning, we stored all the subjects of the different tasks, because if it has already been created through the weekly run or for whatever reason, and now my daily task kicks in, I don't want to create duplicates. So I'm basically remembering what is already there as a task. And then if it's not already created, then I'll create it. But if it's already there, then this if condition will fail. And also for tasks that already have been completed, of course, I'll skip those as well. So if something of this fails, then I'll do nothing. If yes, then I had to do a time zone conversion, something that I also found out the hard way that this happens, because then you sometimes go in a different day, and that's obviously not what I wanted. I'll check whether I have the due date in the requested range. If not, then I'll also do nothing. If it is in the requested range, then I'll just create a calendar event. Here you can see the calendar ID of the default calendar that I've used. We have the subject here, and this is where I put the little icon in the front of the subject. We have the start date and the end date. And in the advanced options, you can also see here that I'm creating a URL for the actual task. So if I open the calendar entry, I also have a direct link into my task planner or to do, so that I can immediately find out more about the actual task. And then the last one that's maybe a bit interesting is that there is no option to set a category on the calendar entry itself. So after it has been created and the ID of the event has been returned, I need to go back in here and say that it is actually of the task category. So that's the only way that I found how I can set a category for a calendar entry. And that's basically it. In the end, maybe also a little wrinkle that's interesting, because I'm using it as a child flow. I have to respond to a Power App in the end. That's the only way how I could make it work on the scheduled side, but then it would always fail on the manual side. So I put it on a scope here, and in the end, I just did something that never fails, which is setting a calendar. The calendar ID variable doesn't make sense, but it just is something to do. So on the manual side, it works, and on the automated side, it works as well. Okay, the last thing I wanted to show you is, if I go back out here. So here we go. That's the interesting thing. I found out the scheduled task is basically done in 33 seconds, as you can see here. But if we take a look at the same thing in the manual task, then you can see that the manual tasks are slightly slower because it takes a bit longer for the schedule to happen. But sometimes it also appears as if the scheduled thing would be longer. So there seems to be some timing difference here. Okay, that was it from my side. I hope it gave you an idea of why I did this, how I did this. And if you're interested, if you want to chat about it, have feedback, again, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you.
Tobias, awesome. I mean, holy cow, right? Holy cow. We got some awesome stuff here today. Let me take back over the screen share, and we will look to wrap this up. We are ahead of schedule today, which is really awesome. So we can take our time wrapping this up. But I just want to say thank you to both Kevin and Tobias. Tobias, I believe this is your also first presentation on the call.
Absolutely, yes.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. So we are appreciative of both of you, Kevin and Tobias. Love the fact that we've got brand new presenters on these calls. Again, everyone is welcome to present. Please do not hesitate to reach out. We love it when new challenges are exposed to us and new solutions are made to those challenges. And both of you showed us new opportunities and how we can use the technology today. So thank you for that. Now, Tobias had mentioned reaching out. How could you do that? Well, you know what? We got an opportunity for you. We've got our community calls conversations. This is going to allow you to continue the conversation with Tobias or Kevin. This is ran by our Power Users site on the Power Apps forums. So this is your opportunity to go let them know that you got questions. Let them know you just appreciated them. That's always welcome to everybody. Just say, hey, great demo, really loved it. Go on there, chat. If you don't have an account on the Power Users, absolutely free to join, and there's no cost for you to join and start getting involved on those forums. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Hugo, but let Tobias and Kevin know you did a great job. These are the URLs that you can use and how you can reach out and contact them. And you can also use the QR code there as well. No problem. We absolutely want to empower you to do more with these conversations and keep the collaboration going, because we are a collaborative community. We also want to know what you think of these calls. So please provide us feedback on these calls. We would love to know what's working for you, what you might want to see more of that we are doing, what you might want to see that we're not doing, that you think are some ways in which we can enhance these calls to make it more valuable for you, for your time, ways that maybe you could share with others. We do just ask you to keep it positive, but let us know in what ways you might want to see some improvements or what's working. That way we know to keep doing what we're doing to ensure that you all are getting the most out of these calls. The recording will be available in 24 hours on the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community YouTube channel. You can access those videos at ak.ms/community/videos. When you see the little recording is ready in the chat, Don't try to download it. It'll just lead to sadness. But you can get happiness if you subscribe to those YouTube accounts, and we will alert you as soon as the episode or the community call or whatever it is that you're wanting to see drops. So definitely take advantage of getting alerted, and that's the best way to do it. We have it up there within 24 hours typically. You could also follow on Twitter for more updates at M365PnP, and that you will also see alerts to when the recording is ready. Or join the LinkedIn group, aka.ms/community/LI. The next M365 and Power Platform bi-weekly call will be in 2 weeks from today, May 11th. The next Viva Connections SharePoint Framework call will be when? May the 4th be with you. Woo-hoo! It is going to be epic. A lot of us are going to be at the Vegas conference, so maybe if you're there, you can sport your May the 4th themed shirt or something like that. Looking forward to that. I got a Power Platform one I'm going to be sporting, so we're excited for that. And if you are going to that, definitely stop by and say hi. Vesa will be there, Hugo will be there, April will be there, I will be there, Chris Kent, lots of folks in the community are going to be there, so definitely stop by and say hi. You can get access to all the community calls at ak.ms/community/calls. Thank you, everyone, for being the best part of our technology and our community. Have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful weekend.